Hello everybody, Sniping is Fun here, and here I am with another Super Smash Bros. 4 related video, another topic that I wanted to talk about today. And no, this time, I'm not doing the character, I'm doing an idea, a bit of content for Super Smash Bros. 4. And that content is DLC. And my main question that I wanted to try to answer or refute or whatever you could really say is why is there so much hate for DLC to be included in the Super Smash Bros. 4 series? In the Super Smash Bros. Series for, Super Smash Bros. 4. Like, why are so many people against it? And I basically looked online for some common complaints people tend to have, and I've come up with a list of 5 of them. I'm going to talk about my opinions about each of these 5 opinions, because in my opinion, I don't really see a problem with DLC if it's done right. If it's done right, and if it has good content that it allows us to have. I mean, you can have good content that could add stuff to the game, but I'm gonna listen to these people out, look at these complaints, and give my opinions on them, on why on how I would respond to these topics, to these why people hate DLC, like the common complaints I tend to see from people online when DLC is referred to in Super Smash Bros. So I hope you guys like this video and enjoy. So the first complaint I tend to see about DLC for Super Smash Bros. Is, don't you want a full game? Basically, they talk about, like, don't you want this game to be complete? This game to have so much content? This game to, to have to be a full game, have the characters, the stages, the assist trophies, items, music, and whatnot. Don't you want it to be full game? Why would you want to have DLC on top of it, or DLC with it, or what most people tend to assume is that this game, it won't be a complete game and that the DLC would complete it. Like that's the basic gist I tend to see from people who make this complaint. Is it seems to be that a lot of people tend to think the game won't be complete, like they're holding back characters for DLC, or they're holding back content for DLC, or they're not going to release the full game up front and be like, oh, you know what, we're going to release this DLC later on, we're going to make you pay more money. People, DLC tends to be extra. DLC tends to be, stuff you pay, or at least what it should be. It's called downloadable content. What it normally is content you pay for, or get free even, after the fact, after the game comes out. So, it's like, don't you want a full game? Yes, I do, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we can get extra content with DLC. We can, we're going to get a couple characters, we're going to get a ton of music and some items and a couple stages and whatnot. Just, to keep the game, relevant, keep the game, up on content throughout the entire generation, which, is a pretty good thing, especially for a fighter, to have content that lasts you the entire generation on top of how much fun you have, because it adds to the fun and the replayability. And it's like, I do want a full game, but DLC is not going to take away from that, I don't think. DLC is supposed to be extra, and knowing Nintendo, who seems to be getting DLC right, like with Fire Emblem and whatever else they've been including it in, tend to have been doing DLC right. Number 2 complaint I tend to see is, we shouldn't pay more than what we get for the game. We should pay for the full game up front, and that's all we should pay, and we should enjoy the game. We shouldn't have to pay any more for any more content, because we paid enough to pay for a full game already. And yes, unlike the first one, I can see this is a common complaint, and I can see where people are coming from, as in, they don't want to pay any more than what they should to actually be able to initially get the game, pay for it and play it. But the thing is, you don't have to pay more. DLC is usually extra. If you want the main game itself and don't want to worry about the DLC, or just want to get the free DLC, which, knowing Nintendo, there tends to be free DLC in some shape or form, it's entirely your choice. Like, DLC is not required, but it adds content afterwards that some people might actually want. You might not want it, but some people might want to be like, oh, well, that character's not in the game, but now they're included. I can pay this much money and get that character. I can download this music that's not in the game. It's one of my favorite songs, but I would rather have it in the game, but it wasn't included initially. You know, stuff like that. It's like, we shouldn't have to pay more, but you're not forced to. You don't have to pay any more money than the initial buying price. You don't have to get the DLC. It's not like, oh, we're forcing you to get the DLC. It's personal choice. Do I want it or don't I want it? And some people would love to have that extra little content, and it takes nothing away from the game. So I don't really see that. Like, it has more weight towards it than like the first complaint, but it's not a big complaint. Like, it's not. It's not, because it only is affecting certain people. The third complaint I tend to see is the fact that, oh, it takes away from the next Super Smash Bros. It's going to take away from Super Smash Bros. 5 and the content that game could be seen. And that's possible too, but the thing about that is Nintendo's a really big company. They have a ton of old characters and a ton of old content that they will not be using for Super Smash Bros. 4. There's going to be a ton of stuff that's missing, that's not included as a character or a stage, assist trophy item, music, or whatever. And also, get this, they also are going to release a lot more new games during this Wii U and 3DS generation. So that content will also be considered, which that content can't be considered now because guess what? It's not out yet. So I don't really think it's going to take away from content in Smash Bros. 5. It's going to add a little more content onto Smash Bros. 4, while they take content that they didn't even include as DLC and be like, which includes new games coming out, which they can't really say, oh, we're going to add DLC for this character when that game or whatever won't be out for another 2-3 years, but then that character can be considered for Super Smash Bros. 5 because they're going to be looking at the Wii U and 3DS and stuff they didn't pull as DLC, which could have been old characters, new characters, or whatever, and they could still have content for stages and music and whatnot in Super Smash Bros. 5. Like, because whatever they add as DLC could be included initially on disc with Smash Bros. 5, but then content that wasn't on disc, or nor was it DLC, they still have a large library to pull from. Nintendo has like a million franchises. They have a ton of songs, ton of characters, ton of areas they could use as stages, a ton of content they could have. There's no way Sakurai is going to be able to put all that in the Super Smash Bros. 4 on disc or DLC. They're going to have room for old content in Smash Bros. 5, on top of the fact, like I said, they make new games. Like we're gonna get new, like we got Splatoon now. That might not be in Smash Bros. 4 as even DLC because it came out so late. It just was recently announced a few months ago. But the Inklings in the Splatoon stage could all make sense for Smash Bros. 5. Like, Dylan is an assist trophy in this game. He could be a playable character in Smash Bros. 5 because guess what? Oh, they're going to release an HD version of the Dylan series, of the Dylan's Rolling Western series in 2016-17 or whatever. When that's kind of the time frame they'll be looking at Smash Bros. 5. Like, they continuously return new games. Oh, they're going to bring back, a few years from now, they're going to bring back, Star Tropics. They're going to bring back pro wrestling. F-Zero is going to get a new game. Xbox is already getting a new game. Oh, wow, we can finally give F-Zero a new character.